started. And we are live. Yeah, we are
Good
live.
morning, one and all. I, Vaishnavi Nair, on behalf of the Young Professionals team and IEEE Pune section, welcome all of you to our session on All About a Career in Aerospace. We have with us Dr. Devabrata Sahoo as a speaker. He is a result-driven professional with 2 years of experience working in the steel industry, 8 years of research experience at the Technion Israel Institute of Technology, and more than 3 years of teaching experience at MIT-ADT Pune, ADCAT in Ashtar, and GVIET in Patiala. A very warm welcome, sir. I would now request you to take over the session.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So, like Vaishnavi gave us a nice introduction about me. So, we have the topic on all about a career in aerospace. I'll try to, like I have been told, to share the screen and give us slide through about how we can go ahead in aerospace as building up a career. So, I'll give a brief overview about my career, how I got into aerospace engineering, what was the things that I took over, and then eventually I came into MIT as an associate professor here, working as an associate professor in the Department of Aerospace Engineering. So I will brief you about the journey, and then we'll talk about other aspects of career opportunities in aerospace domain, basically. So let me just share the screen first. Yeah, I think it is shared. The screen is shared now.
Yes, sir.
And yeah. Okay, so it's all about a career in aerospace, but the thing that I am going to say is, I'll just introduce myself first. Myself, again, Dr. Devabrata Sahoo. I'm basically from Odisha. My hometown is in Keonjhar, Odisha, which is in the northern part of Odisha, which has nothing to do with aerospace. It is completely a mining, like iron ore and steel industry based region. So I belong from a place where we don't know much about, when people don't know much about aerospace, but still we from Odisha, we have some universities where we go into many universities where we have mechanical engineering. So my BTech is from mechanical, core mechanical. So that is how I started my education, that you can say technical education. So after doing my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, I was completely into, okay, I did my mechanical engineering, so I have to get into the core. So I'll go to the steel industry. So that's how Vaishnavi also mentioned that I have 2 years of experience in steel industries. So that's what I did. After doing my BTech, I was into steel industry where I was handling the DRI section. You may be knowing about it, like when we extract steel, the first process is to get the oxidized iron out of it, sponge iron, you can say. So it's a DRI section. So I was handling the maintenance shift of that. I was working as a mechanical engineer there. So with working, like with time, I got to know that, okay, this is something where I am not much interested in, because I was more into like research and designing point of view. I was more interested during my bachelor's as well, but in mechanical domain. So I was more interested in designing. So I eventually thought of letting go of that job, switching to somewhere where I can use my skills that I was more interested into, which I at that time was more on design point of view. Maybe like you might have heard of AutoCAD, Unigraphics, CATIA Pro E, where we design the models of any working parts, or you can say the modeling generally, CAD modeling, computer aided design and modeling. So that's what I was having more interest on. So I left that job. I got an opportunity in BIT Mesra, BITS Mesra, which is Birla Institute of Technology at Mesra, Ranchi, where they have a department of space engineering and rocketry. And what happened was, I was trying to get away from this crude mechanical job and get into somewhere else where I can use my designing skills. And at the same time, I got an opportunity to join BIT Mesra as a research fellow. That is, that time it was a position called project associate, where I was just asked to design a supersonic wind tunnel. And again, wind tunnel comes into aerospace, or it is a part of the aerospace engineering basically, which I was not aware of much at that time, because I was purely a mechanical guy. I never saw a wind tunnel. So I just Googled and went through the Wikipedia what wind tunnels are and all. But I was good at AutoCAD designing. So I went to the interview. They asked me about modeling and designing and how to use the AutoCAD tool, how to draw the draft figures of those things. So it was good. It went very good. The interview was, and I got selected. I joined as an project associate as uh, to design the wind tunnel, supersonic wind tunnel, which we are going to build up there, and it was sponsored by DRDO, AR&DP DRDO. So I went to BIT Mesra in 2010, and when I joined BIT Mesra as a project associate to design the wind tunnel, basically model the wind tunnel in AutoCAD, they gave me a time of 3 months to draw already a present wind tunnel in the lab. So I drew it in, like, it took me maybe 15 to 20 days to do that. So they were impressed with that. So they said, okay, why not you design the entire new wind tunnel and learn CFD, which is called computational fluid dynamics, on a tool that is ANSYS Fluent. You might be aware of it. So why don't you learn that and use it and compute the entire flow on the new wind tunnel theoretically, like computationally, and then design the entire wind tunnel and model the parts. So I was okay with that. So I was given an opportunity to stay longer for that part of work, that is complete the project given by AR&DB of DRDO. That is to design the wind tunnel, supersonic wind tunnel, then establish it, like compute the flow inside, finalize the design, then fabricate, send it for fabrication, then install it, and they do the trial run. So it was a 2 to 3 years project. So they then gave the opportunity to, if you are staying here for 2 3 years, why don't you, they invited me to do the masters there in aerodynamic specialization, because wind tunnels, let me just clear, wind tunnels are a device where we test all the flying models experimentally. Okay, so we keep the model in the wind tunnel, we generate the flow that the real models or aircrafts, for example, they encounter in the sky, higher altitude. So that environment we create it in an instrument that is called tunnel. It's a tunnel kind of thing, which is called wind tunnel. So if the speed range is beyond Mach number 1, which is very high speed, that is beyond in normal standard atmospheric conditions, it will be more than 340 meters per second. So if that kind of atmosphere is being generated, then it is called supersonic wind tunnel. So I designed that. So for that project, it was a 3 years project. So they said me to, you can do your masters as well. So I did my masters in the same lab, from the same lab, with a specialization in aerodynamics. So that is in BIT Mesra. That's how I ended up doing my masters in aerodynamics, which was in line to the project that I was working on. So once I did masters, that I got a clarity on how I can utilize my design, because this was all about designing and analysis in the domain of aerospace. So I got an idea, clarity of what to do next. So while I completed my masters, I also completed the project given by DRDO. It was a sponsored project that I said. So before that, I got another opportunity in the same lab to work on supersonic inlets, that is the fighter jets and missiles. They used to have some engine that is a part of the engine that is called inlet, supersonic inlet, because again the flow used to be high speed. So they gave me that opportunity to join that project as well, which was sponsored by ISRO. So I switched to that project, staying in the same lab, because I completed the wind tunnel part already. So during this master's tenure, I completed both the projects, and soon after doing that master's, I joined, like Vaishnavi said, I joined Patiala, a college called university, GVIT, Gurukul Vidyapit. I joined there as an assistant professor in the aerospace department. So I had a experience of, by that time I had 2 years of industrial experience and 4 years of research experience in BIT Mesra, where I worked on the 2 projects. One was the wind tunnel one, another was the supersonic inlet, along with completion of my masters in aerodynamic specialization as well. So I joined as an assistant professor with those experience in Chandigarh, that is Patiala. And I worked there for around almost 1 year. And then at that time, I already got an invitation to join as a PhD in Technion, Israel Institute of Technology. Like in Israel, we have there is the best #1 ranked university, that is generally called Technion University, but it is officially Technion IIT. You can say Technion Institute of Technology, Israel Institute of Technology. Okay, it is world ranked. I think its aerospace department of Technion is ranked 8th in the world, I guess. Okay, and that it's entirely in top 100 as an university in engineering. So I got an invitation there to join as a PhD in the aerospace department because they had a supersonic wind tunnel which uh, was dead, you can say. It was in stagnant condition from last 30 or 40 years. They last worked on that tunnel in 1976, and after that nobody was working experimentally on the tunnel. Mostly they were working mathematically, and theoretical research was going on, so that tunnel was idle. It was not in working condition. So they got to know somehow in a way that I have designed a tunnel, supersonic wind tunnel in VIT Mesra. So they approached me and they asked me to apply for PhD, and they will sponsor me for that. So that's how I joined uh, Technion as a PhD scholar, as a researcher there, with fully sponsored by Technion, and along with the full free seat for the PhD as well. I didn't pay for the PhD also. So it entirely sponsored, and monthly stipend scholarship was given there as well. Like the previous one also there, where I was working in BIT Mesra as a project associate and research fellow for 4 years. I was getting sponsorship or scholarship from ISRO, ISRO, and before that from DRDO. So when I joined the Technion, I was being funded or paid by Technion. Okay, so it was fully free PhD that I did, and also monthly scholarship was there. So I hope I need to tell the numbers also, so like it was mentioned. So yeah, so I was getting around in Indian rupees, it was around 1 lakh for 30 to 40,000 rupees per month. Apart from the PhD fees, PhD was free. Along with that, they were giving me a monthly stipend that I noted for 4 years until I completed my PhD. So that's how I did my research, entire research for 4 years in BIT, and then 4 years in Technion. And then I came back to India. I had some family constraints, so I had to return, and I was willing to join. And I was also more interested in academics, because before getting into Israel, I was into academics. So I liked the teaching as well as research. So I did not wanted to leave teaching. So I stayed in academia so that I can do both teaching as well as research. So I joined, for the timing, I joined ADSET until like soon after I returned to India. I joined Anna Sahab Dange College of Engineering and Technology. That is situated here in Maharashtra itself, near Kolhapur. So I was there for again for 2 years, and then during the COVID time, I switched to Pune in MIT-ADT University as an assistant professor first, and then I was again promoted as associate professor in MIT-ADT University here, the one presently I'm working at. So this is all about like how I approached to my career, kind of you can say a career path of my career that I was talking about. So I have tested a bit of everything, you can say. I was purely into industry for 2 years. Then I was into completely research for 8 years, and then before that, I have 1 year I have taught in, like I was into teaching. And after I came back to India, like after 2019, again I am into teaching and research as well. So industry, teaching, like academia and research, every flavor that a career can have, I have tried out. So I liked teaching and like academia and research most. So I am here. I'm working as a associate professor as of now here in MIT-ADT University. So what I do here is based on my profile, I focus more on research with the students of our department. I try to provide them internship both nationally and internationally with the connect that I have from different universities in India, from IITs, BIT, Misra, in India, and industries also. And in abroad, we have tie-ups with, like we provide internship to the students to do collaborative research with professors from various universities, like in Technion, from Southampton, Glasgow University, and we also have interns in South Korea as well. So students work on with them on collaborative research work. They publish the papers, and then they get the benefit out of it. Apart from that, we also get into industries also, because all students are not interested into only into research. They want to get into, many of the students are, they have a passion, or they have a focus to get into jobs or industry. So for that, we also have I also, that's a part of my job as well. I tie up with different universities. I make my students like to join as an intern to various industries also, both in India and abroad. So in India, many aero domain industries are there that we will come into in the subsequent slides. And abroad, we are tied up, like collaborated with Avex Technology in Dubai, where many of my students are currently interns. They are working on their industry life problems, and there are chances of getting placement there also. Like based on the performance, they will be joining that industry after their BTech. So this is how my career is, and my other part of work is like to collaborate our industry, our university with various universities and industries to conduct to carry out, sign MOUs and do collaborative research. This is how my entire day goes, like to collaborate, to do research, to teach. To some extent, I also teach some few hours in a day, in a week, we can say, and also try to enhance the research culture that is here in our department, or you can say in the university also. So this is my work culture, that you can say. Okay, so this is all about my career, my brief about how I ended up like till now, how my path is. Now we'll get into aerospace, what our main agenda is. So we have known about, like, aerospace is nothing, it's just, we can say it's a core, or you can say subsequent part of mechanical engineering. So mechanical engineering is consists of wide number of domains, out of which aerospace was a part of it, which now subsequently got itself as a domain. Okay, it got represented as a aerospace domain itself. Now aerospace, actually, if you see, there are two domains which deals with aero, you can say aero domain. One is aerospace and aeronautical. So aeronautical engineering and aerospace engineering are almost the same, but the only difference is in aeronautical engineering, we talk only about the flying vehicles or the vehicles which deal with air within the atmosphere. Aerospace it is both the vehicles or flying vehicles within the atmosphere and beyond that Earth's atmosphere as well. That is the spacecraft, satellites, and all those things. So both the things are dealt in aerospace engineering. So there is an advantage, upper edge, when we talk about aerospace engineering, because it covers space as well as the aeronautical engineering. Okay, so the requirement for aerospace engineering is basically there are two types of requirements or two types of approach. If somebody wants to get into aerospace or to complete aerospace engineering as a bachelor's or BTech in aerospace engineering, there are two approach. One is he can, after 10th, he can get into diploma, he can get a diploma in aerospace engineering and then switch to to continue as a BTech. So there will be like 3 years of diploma and then 3 years of BTech. That is, instead of joining BTech from the first year, he can join second year directly in the second year of aerospace engineering in bachelor's. Okay, so that is the first approach. Second one is the usual one, that is conventional one, that is after 12th or 10 plus 2 with physics, chemistry, and math. That is for getting a good aerospace engineering degree, we need to have a good knowledge of physics, chemistry, and maths. That is very much important here. So BTech aerospace after 10th plus 2 is directly the way of getting BTech. That is the second approach. So these are the two ways that, like the other branches as well, there is the same way that we need to have, or the requirement for getting a degree in aerospace engineering. Now, once we have a degree in aerospace engineering, we can choose the career path based on the student's its own interest. So now, once we are done with BTech aerospace, many students, some of them are interested to get into higher studies or do research, like I used to have. Now some students are interested to go into directly into industry or join a job and then work. There might be various reasons for that, so we can point out those things, but maybe there are, each student have their own plans. Okay, so some used to have a plan of going into industry straight after BTech. They don't have any plan of going for higher studies or research. So in that case, if they are joining industry, they can join industry as an aerospace engineer, or that is, or you can say graduate engineer trainee in aerospace industry, whichever aerospace industries are, that will come later on. That is one part, that is going to the industry directly after bachelor's. The other one is if somebody is interested for higher studies, that is MTech, that is Masters in Technologies in aerospace domain branches or specializations. That again we will be talking in a minute. And they can also go into Master of Engineering or MS abroad. Either way, if you are going to do research, if your passion is to do research in the future, you have to go for higher studies, because BTech is not enough for doing complete full-time research for your as a career. Okay, so that's why people go into higher studies. Now if you are going into higher studies as ME, MTech, or MS, After that, you can again join industry. Okay, after higher studies with a higher, like if you are going to the same industry after BTech, you will get a designation with some salary. If you are not joining that industry after BTech, but you are going for a higher study, doing MTech and MS, and then joining the same industry, then you will be joining with a initial grade, but you will be getting a promotion very soon, and you will be joining as a higher salary. That is another advantage and of joining the industry after doing MTech. That is one advantage of it. Now, that is if somebody is interested to do masters and join industry. But if he is again only into research, then he can go and do a PhD in it. Okay. So once someone is interested to do research and take over research as his entire career, he should do PhD. That's how things goes. Okay. So once he is doing PhD, again there are two options. Sorry. After PhD, three options are there actually. Once you are done with the PhD, once you are doctorate, in the certain topic, in a certain domain, you can again come, like you can come back to academia, join as a assistant professor some in the university and teach and also do research. Completely join R&Ds where you don't need to teach. It's not an industry. You have to do only research and development there. Or you can join industry again with a good position and a even higher salary. Okay, so these are all, like, it's a basic career path that one can choose upon from if someone is into aerospace engineering. Now coming back to, I talked about specializations. So specializations in aerospace engineering, if we talk about, there are various specializations that the aerospace engineering deals with, starting with aerodynamics, propulsion, aerospace structures, dynamics and controls, navigation, missile guidance and control, maintenance, repair and overall. So these all, even if apart from that also there are avionics and astrophysics and all those things are there, which are the basic specializations in aerospace engineering. Okay, so someone has to choose one of the specialization and move ahead for higher studies and PhD. Okay, so that's how the specializations are in aerospace engineering. Now this is a complete overview of what we need to be an aerospace engineer. Now once you are an aerospace engineer, what you need to do if you are interested to get in a job and getting into industry, or if you are interested into research, and which are the domains that you can choose upon beforehand before getting into this research, higher studies or so. Okay, now coming to what are the like industries that deal, or those industries that comes under the career scope of aerospace engineering. So these are some I have listed out. There are many more than the names listed here. For example, see, we can join any, like you can have an opportunity to join any of these kind of university industries, universities, R&Ds. Everything is listed in this table, you can say. These are all the companies that are broadly, or you can say basically, they deal in aerospace engineering. But what I want to point out now is it's a myth kind of thing that most of the people are or they think, parents also think that if you are doing an aerospace engineering, you will be joining only any of this kind of the industries mentioned here. So mostly what I have heard in India as well from the parents, that if you are doing aerospace engineering, there is only scope of joining after BTech. If you are doing BTech in aerospace engineering, you can only join either ISR or that is ISRO, DRDO, HAL, NL, or some private R&Ds of such kind. Apart from that, you don't have much scope. That is the myth that the people generally have. Okay, so that is not so. That's why I am pointing out these are the few examples of the industries that deal with aerospace engineering, but this is not limited to that. Okay, what we have is scope of aerospace engineering is not just limited to aero domain. Aerospace is the domain where we have industries. We know this is all just a pictorial way of representing some of the industries that can deal, or that gives a scope for the aerospace engineers, but this is not the end. Okay, we have many more domains in which an aerospace engineer can have a scope to choose his or her career in terms of job as well as in terms of research also. So these are a few examples, like appliances. Appliances industries, for example, you have Whirlpool, Godrej, all those things. They all have their products in terms of air conditioners, refrigerants, coolers, all those things. Okay, and ducts for centralization, ACs and all. These all deals with fluid flows or fluid dynamics. So all these industries, they need or they have a scope of aerospace engineers to design these things. Okay, so this is what many people are not aware of generally when they try to get into aerospace engineering for choosing their branch or domain of education as well, even the parents also. Not only appliances, we have automotive industry. All the automotive industries, they have to have aerodynamic engineer, propulsion engineer, combustion engineer, which are basically the domain of aerospace engineering or aeronautical engineering. Okay, so they need this domain specialist to design, to develop the vehicles in their industry. So how many aerospace automotive industries we have? It's huge. Okay, so all these automotive industries, they have a domain, they have scope for aerospace engineers. Apart from that, biomedical nowadays, lot of aerospace engineers are getting those, but this is precisely more into CFD. Those aerospace engineers who have a skill set of CFD, that is computational fluid dynamics, they have a very good scope to get into biomedical industries, to design and develop these things that need, or medical equipment that need to be researched upon before designing, and in that research they need CFD to be done. Because, so for example, in University of Cincinnati, that is in US, they have their medical team, they have developed an equipment that can provide voice to someone who is not able to speak through adding something in their throat. How did they do that? They researched upon the air passage, the tunnel that we have in our throat. They did CFD simulations on that, and they came out with a way that how we can use or develop a device that can be fitted or that can be operated into the throat, and they can create a, or they can resolve the issue that is coming into picture when the air is not going properly in that valve. Okay, so that kind of solutions are provided or generated through CFD also. This is one example that I'm giving, but we have a lot of scope in that field as well. Chemical processing, whatever chemical processing industries there are, they all have to go with proper chemical mixtures and all this fluid related fluid dynamic related issues that they have to deal with. So they need in these cases also fluid engineers or aerodynamic engineers, where air is instead of the fluid, instead of air, it's a fluid, that is the chemical, you can say. But the basic knowledge of dynamics, fluid dynamics, has to be known to the person, and who knows it? The aerospace engineer are more focused on this kind of problems also. Apart from that, a small field is also there in marine and sports, where in marine also, you know, hydrodynamics, where water instead of air, we have water as the fluid. So that is hydrodynamics. So designing ships or torpedoes, you know, what is the missile that we fire inside the water. So designing all those things also need aerospace engineers, okay, to design and develop. Now again, apart from this, we have sports. In sports nowadays, they are getting more into research through aerospace engineers to get best effect outcome out of in the sports, different sports as well. Okay, so these are all the areas where R&Ds or research need aerospace engineer. And if the research need aerospace engineers, the industries related to this, or you can say the industries related to all these domains, they will also be needing aerospace engineers. So what my agenda was to let you all know that aerospace engineering is not only about getting into the known industries to all of us in India, we can say. It is beyond, lot beyond that. Okay, so aerospace, if you are doing, you can not, it's not needed that you can only join ISRO, DRDO or NAL. You can get into various industries, not only aero domain, different other domains as well. Okay, so now this is all about that I wanted to talk about aerospace engineering and its career scopes. What are the different domains that we need to go, and how we can get in aerospace engineering degree, the approaches, and if you are done with the degree, how do you get into different other career paths beyond the BTech in aerospace engineering. So that's all about the presentation. So anything that we can discuss now? Shall I stop this sharing, I guess?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, I wanted to tell about again ASS that I am basically elected as the chair of IEEE ASS Pune section, which is generally IEEE you all are aware of, very obvious. ASS is a society that is more inclined, only society in IEEE which is more inclined into aerospace. So ASS stands for Aerospace and Electronic Systems Society. Okay, so any of the IEEE members, student members or young professional members who are interested to contribute or want to get the benefit of ASS, they are most welcome. You can join ASS society as well in IEEE, which is now we have started this ASS society in Pune section as well. So you are more than welcome to join our society and make it's a huge one in Pune section. And so yeah.
The wide range of applications that you just presented, many of us weren't aware of these applications. So that was really a great awareness related point
Exactly.
that you shared with
That is why
everyone.
many parents, what happens is students are generally, when we are like, okay, for me, I belong to a family which are not much into education, so I didn't know anything about which domain to join. Nobody guided me that way. So I was like, I was the one who, when asked that what is your passion, what are you going to do ahead during 10th, 12th, even in BTech also, I was just blank. Okay. So nobody gave that kind of guidance. But when this thing happens to the students, but they have some interest, okay, when they're like kids during their school time or 11th 12th, they have their interest into aerospace engineering or aeroplanes, they want to fly or something like that. Okay, when they tell this to their parent that I want to do something in aerospace engineering, they are more like not supportive, but they get frightened. So if you are going to do aerospace engineering, what will you do after BTech? So when that's the mentality of people that we have. They're not much aware of it. Okay, so in some cases, most of the cases, the student have to sacrifice his or her passion towards aerospace because of this particular reason. So in this college, like when I am in MIT also, when people come to visit for admission also, many parents have the same question. Like their students are interested to do aerospace engineering because they are passionate about missiles, they're passionate about joining Air Force, they're passionate about aeroplanes and all. But the parents are reluctant to make him join into aerospace engineering because of the same problem that they think. So they ask us, if he is not getting into ISRO DRDO, what will happen? So we have to tell this thing, no, it's not like that. Even I was not aware of all these things when I came entirely into aerospace. As I'm again in mechanical, like I am a mechanical guy back, if you see. So I was not aware of aerospace aerodynamics at all. So once I joined BIT Mesra as a project associate, as I worked into that projects related to ISRO and DRDO, then eventually I went to Israel. Then I got to know all these things. Like, yeah, it's not only about a small poor section of the industry that provides scope to the aerospace engineering. It's way beyond that. Hello. Yeah, I think it's audible. Hello. Am I audible?
You are audible. I think Vaishnavi is facing some
Okay. So one more thing I wanted to point out to the students also, like students or those who are not much aware of the higher studies opportunities in abroad also. Many of the students, they try to opt for higher studies to places where they are like unaware of getting good
Just lost my
scholars.
cover. I'm just joining
Sorry.
through phone.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Shall I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So one more point I wanted to note like here that our student, like when what I experienced here also, which I also faced in my case also, that we are not much aware of higher studies abroad with good scholarship or something like that. Okay, so students eventually what they do is they join somewhere with their self sponsored, like they pay taking loans from banks and all here. So, but there are many universities they provide full sponsorship, and which is not aware, like people are not aware here. They completely pay your masters also, masters, and apart from that they give scholarship for survival there as well. Okay, so many countries are there, like in Israel, in South Korea. Every year they have a scheme, not only aerospace engineers, others can also join. Okay, they are as masters with fully sponsored, and they provide you entire thing like travel fares, staying there, your dress allowance also they give you. That's called global Korean scholarship. That's something, an example that I'm giving. This is one in South Korea. So people can get into those kind of scholarship schemes also to do their higher studies if they are not able to join just because of this financial constraints also, but they are interested to go for higher studies in aerospace domain or any other domain. They can approach this kind of scholarship schemes of various countries, and they can join and do their higher studies and build a good career in their respective or domain or specialization, interest of specialization as well.
Sorry, sir. Back to the point that you were stating earlier, I feel that, as you said, like people aren't aware of the numerous opportunities that they have in aerospace engineering.
Yeah.
The main problem is that we have a very restrictive mindset. When we think about aerospace, it is just about aircrafts or any flying object.
Exactly. Yes.
So the main problem comes where there is no awareness of what all is in store for you all. It's just not about not having interest, but the problem is about not knowing what all things are available for you in that particular field to make informed decisions. So I felt that this session that you delivered right now, all that you presented, will be a big boost for anyone who's looking to set out in this particular field.
Yeah, exactly. Because for an example, like somebody is interested, like I have seen, I also faced the same kind of situation because I had, like I said, I have family constraints. So I am the eldest in my home. So I have to take care of the family, parents, everything. So I was constrained to get into higher studies because I have to need money. I need to earn first. Okay, that is also a mindset or back of the mind of the students when they are doing their bachelor's in aerospace. Suppose we are taking, it's for general, you can generalize it as well. Any student who is doing his bachelor's because of their background, maybe some are from financially a bit challenged, or that they need to earn after just after that their BTech. So even if they are interested to get into research as a passion, they have to forcefully get into job to earn something. For those kind of students, those who are good at studies, interested to do research, but they are unaware of these opportunities, that they can do their research abroad and earn there, like do their masters with that research, which will be entirely free. Apart from that, they pay you a lump sum that is what you can save in that country is more than what you get salary here in India. That's the example that I'm saying. In my case, I was earning in 2015, I was earning 50,000 as I was an assistant professor there. My salary was 50,000 in 2015. I joined Technion as a PhD scholar because I was interested. Okay, I had an interest to do research, so but I was not able to because I had to do job to get some money to take care of my responsibilities. So I was not doing that in a full time. But when I got an opportunity in Technion, what I got a PhD full free, nothing to pay. Apart from that, I was getting 1.2 lakh, 3 lakhs around scholarship per month. So staying there with my family, my wife was also there. We were staying there, and still we were saving around 50 to 60,000 per month, which is more than the salary in India now. So it's just for the students who are well capable of, they're good at studies, they're good at research, but they're not able to join higher studies just because of this constraint, because they need to earn just after their BTech to take care of their responsibilities back home. For that, those kind of students, it is not that way. You can join, you can go somewhere where you can study, do research, again earn, still send back money to home. So this is what my agenda was. I used to tell all my students here as well.
So, sir, like, what is your take on the opportunities available in India? Like, if somebody wants to grow in this field in India itself.
In India, it is growing a lot now. Like in Pune itself, like I told, there are so many companies just related to aerospace engineering that we are also not aware of. We, as an academic university, having aerospace department as one of the department, a post, like it's a very sophisticated department and very renowned department in our university. We are also not aware of all the aerospace industries that we are surrounded by in Pune itself. So there is a lack of awareness. I don't know whose lacuna it is. Maybe the industries or maybe ours. Like maybe they are not open to all, or we are not exploring much. I don't know what is the case, but there are many industries in and around that is completely into aero, but we are not aware of it. So scope is huge. Now, recently you might have heard of the news that Tata has bought 500 airplanes, Boeing. So you can see for 500 airplanes, how many engineers they will be needing now. Boeing will be needing in Bangalore, and in I think they have a plant they're setting up in Nagpur, Airbus and Boeing. So you can imagine how many engineers they will be needing for this, just for Airbus and Boeing. Apart from that, ISRO, DRDO, NL, they're all doing their part. Their centralized equipments are happening. Now, central government has already given the norm that private private industries can contribute to the defense, right? So they have now Adani Aerospace, Mahindra Tech Mahindra, like Mahindra Defense, Tata Technologies in aerospace division they have also opened. Then they have Reliance Defense, everything. All the big business tycoons have already entered defense sector. So all these industries, they need aerospace engineers anyhow. So like career point of view, aerospace is not now limited in any case like it was in 10-15 years back in India.
But I see that with the foreign relations that we're developing with other countries, now, like from now onwards, we can expect it to grow in India.
Yes. Now it's growing. It has started growing. So, for example, like you can just see the placement scenario 5 years back in aerospace department from Indian universities or colleges was very not in a good shape. Okay, if I give you an example of my university, like MIT and ADT universities, aerospace department's placement, and if you go for internship is 200%. Like 200% means each student is having more than one internship in line. Internship as in full-time internship, they go to the industry and work there, or maybe work online on industry relevant problems, because now the scenario is different. And previously what was happening, company were visiting the universities for campus placements. Now it is different. The trend is different. Companies are taking the students as interns, working with them. Based on their performance, they are incubing them as employees after their BTech. This is the trend now happening. So all the students, if you see internship point of view, our department, aerospace department, for example, here, all of them are having more than one internship in hand. Okay. And placement point of view, if you see, more than 70%, 80% placement are happening now. Okay. Again, there is a thing that has to be cleared here. Placement is students, there are number of students, 50 students are supposed there. Out of 50 students, how many of them are interested to go for placement? In that way I am telling, because mostly aerospace students, they want to, aerospace students are or aerospace department is the only department where most of the students want to get into higher studies and research. Okay, so aerospace, if there are 50 to 60 is the strength, maybe 20 students would be completely in the mindset of going for higher studies. Okay, rest 40 out of that, maybe 4 to 5 will be into startup. They want to be entrepreneurs. They want to start their own drone and all business. The rest will be willing to get into industries. So from there, if we see, mostly 70-80% are getting placed in aero domain industries. So that's how, because many colleges also, they say that like aerospace industry department students, then place them in Infosys like softwares, and then they say that we are placed. It's not like that. What I think, getting placed in the same domain where you are interested to or what you have studied. That way it is very much getting better now.
And this one more thing, sir, as you mentioned, you showed the path, the correct path of getting into this domain. Like you either take a diploma in aerospace engineering or you complete your 12th with PCM as the compulsory subjects and then pursue your aerospace engineering. But for someone, like most of our audience today here are from the engineering background and not mainly from aerospace engineering branch. So for them, if they have to set out in this particular field, so is it that they have to like go all over and learn the basics of aerospace engineering or?
Not exactly, but some domain, if you see, like if you have a BTech in mechanical, you can still get into MTech in aerospace.
Correct. Also ENTC, right?
Like
Electronics.
my case, I am completely mechanical guy. I didn't know anything about aerospace, but I went into aerospace and complete my entire career is now in aerospace or aerodynamics, you can say, to be precise. Similarly, we have a domain called avionics, which is a clubbing of electronics into aerospace. Okay, so because we can't, aerospace is a domain. Okay, we are designing an aircraft or missile, but missile can't be completely designed unless and until electronics gives its involvement in it. Okay, so that part, or if you get into the cockpit of an aerospace aircraft, everything will be electronics, no? So that has to be designed by someone. So that part is called, that domain is called avionics. I missed out in the slide. It's avionics. So people with electronics background can get into aerospace in this window, you can say. We have one of our faculty member here. She has not done her aerospace engineering in aerospace. Her master's is not in aerospace. Her PhD is not in aerospace. She is entirely in electronics and instrumentation. But she is teaching our students here in aerospace. She is a faculty in aerospace department. Okay, so she teaches avionics related subjects. So for that kind of things, she has to take some prerequisites, maybe you can say some courses for her own like development, because she has to get familiar with aerospace. So she need to get some online courses or something for her self development, you can say. That will be mandatory thing, that she need to know something about aerospace. That's why then only she can get include her electronic skill set into that and club it and make it avionics. So for that, this is required, but it is not restricted. Anybody can get in this domain. So.
Yes. So it's a multidisciplinary space. Like any.
Yeah, it's multidisciplinary. Yeah.
Correct. So that's a very good point that you highlighted, sir. Also, if
our students are doing research, no, those students nowadays, like our students who are developing, suppose drones, but if they are developing a drone, they need to work with electronics guy student, because someone has to code or design the code for the controller, right?
Correct.
I am not much into electronics, but I know this. This is what is needed. So they can't do it. If they have an idea of how to design the drone, what should be the structural integrity, what should be the aerodynamic efficiency, and all those things of the propellers and everything, they will do. They will design it. But who will control it? The microcontroller. Who is going to design that? Electronics has to know. So, and who will be coding it? Computer science. So this is how it has to come into picture.
Yes.
So this is how it is happening. So it's multidisciplinary in a sense, yeah.
So there was one more question that I had received. This is, I don't think you have the expertise in this particular field, but if you can answer this, the question is, what is aviation law? What education qualification is required for this?
Okay.
Yes, it's not many are aware about this.
I am also not much into this aviation law, but the thing is, when we are designing I think when we are designing an aircraft or drones and all, there are laws passed how to use it. Or when you are designing something, you have to follow a path. Okay, follow some rules and regulations. Regulatory bodies are there. So for example, it's a DGCA approved. We can say DGCA is the committee or the body that allows you to fly an aircraft if you have designed it. Until it's like a licensing authority. So similarly, aviation law is maybe whatever I know, I think it is the governing body or the regulatory body that gives the laws of aviation. Aviation is flying like aircraft and all those things. Those laws there are that, like traffic rules are also there, no? Aviation traffic and control board and all. Similarly, it's the law that aviation has to like aviation industry has to follow. That's to best of my knowledge, I can say. I am not much aware of that also. Yeah.
Since like, are you aware of any exams that the interested participant needs to take into so that they get into this aerospace field? Like, are these exams conducted biannually, annually? What is the syllabus?
No. There are like again exam in the sense what? Like if you want to join like ISRO, DRDO and all, they have a centralized recruitment drive. They used to happen. They for BTech students. For BTech students, every year they have centralized recruitment. They used to have all these bodies. Okay, so for them, for these public sectors to get into public sectors like DRDO, ISRO, HAL, NAL, they segregatedly, they themselves, each organization, they do their recruitment drive every once in a year for bachelors, and they don't do only for aerospace also. They open it for aerospace engineering students, for mechanical, for electric, all the branches every year once. But for this, you need to have a compulsory GATE score. You have to qualify GATE for Indian public sectors, but not for the private ones. And they don't have any drive also. You can just apply and then get a job there, depending on their recruitment protocol or sequence. Okay, for public sectors, you have every year once, and that's what they have and they do. For BTechs, for masters, they open on availability. You can say masters and PhDs.
This was a very wholesome session, personally for me also as a participant.
Okay, thanks.
So a big thank you to you, sir, for such an amazing session.
Thank you for
Yes.
inviting me, and at least because this thing needed to be shared, that awareness of the limited opportunity and all those things should be gone from the minds of the parents, from our next generation students to come up. No, it's a good thing. Yeah.
Session is no doubt suited for anyone who wants to grow in this field, but I felt that there was something for everyone, irrespective of what career path they are interested in. So that was the kind of impact that this session imparted. So thank you once again. Also, to all the audience who are our end result, thank you so much for your time. And we'll be coming up with more such sessions in future, covering various other career fields. So our aim through Career Path Discovery series is to define a path with respect to a career field, thereby creating an awareness of all the possible opportunities one can avail and excel. So we as a team hope for a long-lasting relationship with you. So we hope to see you soon.
So thank you all, and I invite you all to join AESS Society. It's a small, like you can just add on to with your society, and we can do together wonders in the society for Pune section as well. Okay, thank you all.
Vaishnavi, can we have a photo session?
Yes, sir. So can we just stay back?
Yeah, sure.
We can stop the recording if possible. Can you please, Parth, can you also add Nupur to the panelist so that even she can turn on her video? So Parv, can you also turn on your video? Yes, yeah. And once, like, just after you've taken the picture, just let us know.
One minute. Just give me a one.
Yeah, no problem.
So the cities in 1, 2, 3. Done. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.